What's going on, everyone? It's Evan and Megan again, and welcome back to Two Hub Travels. We spent 3 months motorcycling through Mexico from north to south, and we wanted to make this video to share some useful information that we learned and break down some of the questions that we had coming into Mexico that you also might have, which is why you're watching this video, and we want to share that with you. Hopefully it's not too noisy. It's difficult to find a quiet place in Central America, so we're just gonna have to roll with the punches here. I'll add subtitles if needed.
Yeah.
But anyway.
We're gonna list some resources in the comments below. So we use the Pan American Facebook group, iOverlander, it's an app, and then some helpful blog posts as well. So if you need some resources to further your research, you can use those there. Things that you're gonna need to know is how to get your motorcycle into Mexico, the cartel and the police, interacting with locals, preventative measures to keep you and your motorcycle safe, things you need to know about driving in Mexico, such as the road conditions and road etiquette, communication, like what kind of Spanish you might need to know, and then finally our favorite places and why.
First thing, what you need to do to get your motorcycle into Mexico. Megan, you want to hit on this?
Yeah, so to get yourself into Mexico, you need to fill out the migration form. It's known as an FMM. You can fill it out online ahead of time. One thing that we learned kind of the hard way was that you need to keep your receipts and show that when you're crossing the border. Not super sure if this is like a universal thing or just our border agent, but we had some hangups because of it. Also, we learned today, make sure that they stamp both your FMM and your passport, because coming into Guatemala, we had issues because they didn't stamp our passports.
Yes, we weren't in the system at all. We technically illegally left the country. So make sure you get your stamps.
Yeah. You're also going to need a TIP. It's your import permit for your motorcycle. Do you want to hit on that?
Yeah, the TIP, your temporary import permit. There are a lot of different things that kind of go into this. Megan made a blog post about it. You can also find a lot of information online. What you need to know is that it's going to cost you $500 to temporarily import your vehicle into Mexico, but you do get that $500 back when you leave. They will tell you to make sure you keep all your paperwork. By this point, you should know to just keep all of your paperwork anyway, keep it safe. And then when you leave, it's super straightforward. We did it today, and the whole process took like 10 minutes, if that.
Now we're going to talk about some hot topics.
Number two,
the cartel and the police.
Yes. So there's a lot that you can say about this. We're only going to touch on our personal experience, and then we'll share a little bit with what locals have told us. Personally, I think the most important thing that you should know is if you're in the north of Mexico and you're out in like the deep, like the boonies, the chances of you running into cartel is going to be higher than if you're like farther south. Yeah. Especially if you're staying in like border towns. So if you cross into Mexico, don't stay in border towns. Make time to get through the border of Mexico and then get a couple hours south. We stayed in Monterrey the first day, and that was a great spot. Yeah, but we didn't run into cartel.
Yeah, I think that truly like the media all over the world does kind of blow up the dangers of the cartel. Not saying it's not dangerous at all, but we didn't really see it at all.
No.
Like I couldn't tell you where the cartel was. So as a traveler there, traveling through Mexico is not as like scary as the news likes to make it. So don't let that be a reason not to travel to Mexico.
Definitely.
Obviously use your, judgment and don't go into dangerous areas.
Yeah, and you'll be fine.
Okay.
The cartel's not looking to mess with people. Now, I'm sure coming into this, you've probably heard of situations where they have messed with people, and I'm not saying that isn't a possibility of happening, but the chance is really low.
Yeah.
Like, it's super low. And they don't really want to draw a bunch of attention to themselves. If you did get stopped by, like a Sicario or a Falcone, which is some other names that they have for the cartel here, they are most likely just going to ask you a couple questions, or not at all. They're going to see that you're a tourist and that you're on your motorcycle, and they're just going to probably let you go. I've said it once, and I'll say it again. Traveling through Mexico on a motorcycle, I think, is inherently safer than doing it on like any sort of like four-wheeled overlander, because people see that you're on a motorcycle and they legitimately have like respect. Like they're just like, cool. Like they don't care. They don't care about your motorcycle or you. They're just like, whatever. So yeah. Same goes for the police. Speaking of the police, we had no run-ins with the cops.
Nope.
The only run-ins we had were super friendly, like that,
It's my goal to like make friends with them everywhere we went. Once again, we know there are corrupt policemen, not our experience. We had nothing but positive experiences dealing with those police and cartel. I don't know if you have a positive experience dealing with the cartel, but.
Yeah. We were told, and I read though, if you do get pulled over by the police, you can do one of two things. You can give them a bribe when they ask for it. I don't know, weren't bribed, so I'm not sure. Or you can play the tourist and don't speak any Spanish, play stupid, and don't act like you got somewhere to be patient, and insist that you go to the police station to pay your ticket, because chances are they're gonna just drop the ticket because they realize that they'd have to drive to the police station with you, work through the whole thing of you paying the ticket, and at that point they don't make any money off of it. They're just sitting around wasting their time when they could probably be out maybe trying to bribe someone else.
Yeah.
But we haven't had no run-ins with the cops.
So number 3 is interactions with locals. Everyone in Mexico is so kind. Like, I think we were both kind of surprised at how hospitable and just happy people were to see you in their town. Evan and I made an honest attempt to stay out of the tourist areas and just kind of hit small towns as we made our way down. And you'll go to a lot of places that way that don't meet a lot of travelers, and so they are super excited to share their love for their country with you. So that's what we found. The people have just been incredible.
I'll leave a link to the video where a bunch of random folks helped us tow our motorcycle out of the jungle with a tractor. People that we had never met before in our entire lives, and they just wanted to help us out. What Megan said, go to non-touristy areas and you're gonna experience a flavor of Mexico that you aren't going to get in touristy spots.
I think too, if you make an honest attempt to speak Spanish, obviously, if you've seen any of our videos, you know Evan and I are not Spanish experts, but if you make a really honest attempt, they're patient and it goes a long way to show that like you're trying to like blend in with their country. Number 4.
Number 4.
Preventative measures to keep you and your motorcycle safe.
In Mexico and throughout most of Latin America, from what we've been told, you have areas that are behind like a locked gate. Like you can't really see right now, but this whole area is like fenced off and there's a gate and we're in an open area, so the motorcycle at night's gonna be locked up in here. In Mexico, it was the same thing. Everyone's homes have like big locking doors and they open the door and you ride in and you park your bike and that's it, it's fine. Now, in the chance that you don't have an area for your motorcycle to be locked up behind something, you have 2 options. You have public parking areas, which we never use, but I know you can use them. You can park your vehicle overnight and it's 24-hour guarded and no one's gonna mess with your stuff. If you do put it on the street and if it's like a safe neighborhood, you can talk to locals or your host and ask them about it. If you feel more comfortable, putting a cover over your motorcycle will essentially kind of like make your motorcycle invisible. It just makes it look less flashy and not stand out. So we never had any issues though. No one ever bothered our bike or us.
Nope. So how to keep yourself safe while traveling through Mexico. So a lot of times, like hard and fast rule that we live by is do not travel at night. There's no need for that.
Don't travel. Don't travel at night unless you absolutely need to.
Yeah, unless you absolutely need to, but you can find places to stay anywhere. But you could run into maybe more like activity, like criminal activity happens at night, or also just the roads are unpredictable, there's animals, things like that. So just don't drive at night. iOverlander is an app, we mentioned it earlier, but basically other travelers can post on it. And so we will check that on our route to see if there's any warnings about bad roads, police scams, robberies.
Totally.
Anything.
Yes.
It's on there, it's awesome. And then we also use like the United States' travel advisory page. So they'll list like certain parts that they would say like do not travel to or not recommended. We look at that just to kind of get a feel for it. Sometimes abide by it, sometimes don't.
I don't think there was a single experience in Mexico where we felt unsafe in a city.
Go with your gut. Don't go down dark alleys if it's sketchy. It's the same thing that you would do in your own hometown.
Yeah.
Just be smart. Don't carry your valuables. Don't have flashy things.
One thing I want to add for Mexico, which I found was sometimes when you're in certain areas, before you engage with someone who's local, they may not look super happy to see you, but as soon as you're like, hey, like, hola, or buenos dias, or buenas noches, they'll perk right up.
Yeah.
You know? So like, don't be intimidated by them at all.
Nah.
You know, there's plenty of neighborhoods which you might consider like sketchy in your hometown, but in Mexico, it's just like a neighborhood. There's like some trash and there's people running around and yelling because Mexicans are loud and it's a loud culture and it's great and they're super friendly. But if they're looking at you and they're kind of like giving you the stare down, just be like, hola, you know, buenos dias, buenas noches, and they'll just be like, hey, you know, and they'll wave right back at you.
Yeah, just friendly.
Engage with people.
Yeah.
Okay, number 5, actually driving in Mexico, road safety. The most unsafe thing in Mexico and on the roads is one word. It is topes, T-O-P-E-S, and those are speed bumps, also known as reductors. So if you see signs for topes or reductors or anything like that, slow down because they're not like normal speed bumps. Like sometimes the speed bumps are pointed, sometimes they're like a piece of pipe with like just paved over.
Or just like giant mounds.
Giant mounds.
And they're everywhere.
Everywhere. You'll find them everywhere. So be careful when you're going through a city or through a small town. because you might be on the highway and cruising at like 50, 60 miles an hour, kilometers an hour, like whatever, and then all of a sudden like it's still pace, and they don't mark them most of the time. It's just, there's so many times where we're going and it's only until the last second where Megan and I is just like, stand! And like we just stand up on the bike and we blast over this thing, and like, it's dangerous because if you're not ready for it, it could really jar you, and the motorcycle's not good for the motorcycle. And also you need to be ready because cars will suddenly just slow down to like go over them, because I think they get surprised as much as we do. And if you're cruising up right behind a car, like you could rear end them and it could be really bad. So there's that. Road quality for Mexico ranges from absolutely terrible to perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Most of the time we had just great road quality. Some areas with potholes or road work where there's like dirt, and the safety standards for road work is a little different in Mexico than like, say like in the United States.
There's like one gal just like waving a flag, and there's like shovels swinging around.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Important signals. I want to talk about some important things with signals you should know in Mexico. The first one's your four-ways, your flashers, your hazards, all sorts of different names when all the lights are blinking at the same time. If you're going down the road and you see someone in front of you with those on, that means that they're slowing down, or they're stops, or that there's a hazard or something coming your way. So slow down, turn yours on so the person behind you doesn't rear end you, and you're fine.
Yeah.
The other thing too is the turn signal. If you're behind somebody and they have their left turn signal on, that means that they're giving you to clear to pass them. That's what that means. So it doesn't necessarily mean they're always going to turn, it just means that you can get around them.
But sometimes it does mean they're going to turn. So keep an eye out. You never really know.
Definitely play it safe.
There's also a whole bunch of toll roads in Mexico, and so you have either the toll roads or the non-toll roads. The toll roads are generally a little bit better maintained, and so just make sure you have some small bills on you to be able to pay those, or the free roads are pretty fine too. Number six. Communication.
Communication.
And phrases.
Speaking in Spanish.
Might be helpful.
Yeah. Things you're gonna wanna know how to say are like you're searching for, buscar is to search. So buscamos is we're searching for, or busco, I'm searching for, I'm looking for essentially. So if you're looking for something like a gas station or a store.
Also one you'll use every day is fill it up.
Yeah, hiero.
Lleno.
Lleno.
It's either lleno or lleno. If someone knows Spanish, you want to correct us in the comments.
I think so, yeah. We have gone over this a lot because I thought it was hiero, and then we thought it was lleno, and then I just walk up and I go like, lleno rojo, because when you're in Mexico and you go to the gas station, you're gonna have red pump, green pump. Red pump's premium, green pump is just not premium, or diesel. We never did that. We always chose the red because it's just the highest quality. But you go up there and
they pump the gas for you.
They pump the gas for you, pay in cash. We never had any issues, but yeah, just say like, fill it up with red, and you're good to go.
If someone says no pasar, that is a good sign that you should not pass and should not go down the road.
No passing.
We got that a couple times.
Yes.
It's very important.
It is super important.
Yep.
Yeah. If you don't know any Spanish and you're like leaving tomorrow, know that it's doable, but it will definitely be more tricky for you. So
good luck with those border crossings.
Yeah, border crossings are a pain in the butt. If you know a little bit of Spanish, or you have like 6 months to a year in front of you, I highly encourage you to jump on like Duolingo or something else now and just start learning like basic cognates, or how to conjugate. And conjugation's big, and you'll learn some basic words. And then when you're here, you'll listen to locals talking and you'll pick up words. Like when we first came into the country, we didn't know what efectivo or tarjeta was. That's essentially cash or card. Efectivo's cash, tarjeta's card. And there's a bunch of other little words right now that I can't think of. When we came in, we're like, what is this? And then we learned the uncomfortable, embarrassing way what those words were, and now we use them every single day.
Totally.
So you'll be okay.
Yeah.
It'll just save you a lot of trouble if you know how to do a couple little things in Spanish. Number 7, how do we choose accommodation? Megan.
We use Airbnb.
We used Airbnb the whole way through Mexico. It's great.
Awesome.
We loved it.
Super easy. Translates for you. Sometimes you meet people who speak English, which is helpful.
We just meet the coolest people.
It was affordable.
Yes.
It was great.
Yeah, I think some of the coolest places we found were Airbnb, and highly, highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Super great option.
The last category, little bonus round. What was our favorite places and why in Mexico?
You already know.
I already have mine.
Yeah.
Mine was this little mountain town called Real de Catorce. It's in the north. I don't remember what state it's in, but it's a Pueblo Magico, so a little magic village up in the mountains. And it was cold, like really cold, and the air was thin. It was like 10,000 feet or something. It was beautiful. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's a great place. I didn't necessarily have like a favorite spot in Mexico. The last city that we were just in, Tapachula, I think had like the friendliest people that we met in Mexico. We met a lot of friendly people in Mexico, like no disrespect to anybody, but in general, she's still going.
Oh, no.
All right, well, Megan's dying, so I'm just gonna finish.
Wait, my mic's on. You don't want to do this right now. You'll just cut this out and restart. Let's wrap this up. Okay.
You're not done. Yeah, I didn't think so. That was a really cool city. I like that a lot. But I have to say, the ride from Real de Catorce to El Naranjo was one of my favorites, and El Naranjo was just a really cool city. Just had a lot of really good memories there. It was a small spot, nothing really crazy, but everyone was super nice. The food was great. In Mexico, you're gonna have a couple spots that are really special to you for not like those big touristy reasons. It's gonna be like weird little stuff that you like. So for me, it was El Naranjo. Well, if you watch this video and you've been through Mexico, or you're going through Mexico, or you have some other tips that you think that we should
Hurry.
comments down below, put in some stuff that you think could be helpful. If we didn't mention it here, it means a lot. We want to use this as a bunch of resources. So anyway, that was it. That's it. That's what you
It's
think
everything
you should know.
need to know.
Maybe not everything. But,
Everything.
pretty
Now
close.
you're prepared to ride a motorcycle through Mexico.
Indeed. All right, well, hey, thanks for watching this video, everyone. Really appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you in the next one. All right, have fun in Mexico. Thanks for tuning in. Much love, everyone. Peace.